Glory to God. And we got a crazy one here for y'all today, fellas. What up, YouTubeers? Dang. Need a little bit more energy, more energy. What up, YouTubeers? MW Porn part 2, not part 1. Bet with it. Hold on. Bet with it. Bet with another video, you feel me? And today, we got a crazy one for today, boys and girls. A crazy one. With a Q, not with a C, not with a K. Glory to God, man. It's a beautiful Sunday. Happy Mother's Day, bro. You see it's dark, you feel me? It's 5:40 p.m. It ain't dark outside, but I closed my blinds. And I got it dark in my room, but I can still see, so I ain't finna get too scared. You feel me? Glory to God, bro. We got 5 disturbing true school lockdown stories by Mr. Nightmare, bro. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. These school shootings, it been happening more and more. So this low-key like a fascinating topic. This video was posted 2 days ago. No, I'm not late. Let's hop straight on into it. We got 25 minutes of a straight lockdown stories. Let's go. Hey, get y'all snacks, man.
Immediately go to the nearest room and lock and barricade the door.
All right.
Stay low and stay quiet.
Dang, that's how they coming?
I went to a somewhat typical high school. Not in a traditional American suburb, but a more rural set high school.
Oh, right.
Some kids go to schools with graduating classes of like 500 to hell, even 1,000 kids. My high school had, I think, a little less than 200 kids in my graduating class. It was the kind of high school.
That's normal, right?
Where even if you weren't friends with someone,
grade.
you still knew them by face and name.
Right.
Walking down the hallways, you'd know basically 99% of your peers, at least in your own graduating class. Coming from a quiet town, there weren't a lot of crazy news stories, really. It was pretty uneventful there. What we did for fun after school was actually go out and play sports and ride our bikes around and stuff like that.
That's normal.
This was like 17 years ago, though, so I guess things may be a lot different these days for kids.
I mean, yeah, because, like, this generation all messed up, but, like, that's normal, bro. Nah.
I always felt that was unique about our school was that there didn't really seem to be any bullying for the most part.
See? Hey, can we clap it up, bro?
Electromagnetic
Can we clap it up for his school, bro?
Like, at least not the typical cliche movie style bullying where kids are getting pushed into lockers or having their lunch money stolen.
Yeah.
When I think back now, I can't really name a single kid from my graduating class who could be labeled as a bully. Sure, there were kids who just tease others, but nothing too serious.
Right.
Of course, there were quiet kids in our grade, like every school has, but there was one kid in my grade who literally never spoke at all. I'm gonna just name him Luke for this story.
I'm gonna name folks Michael Myers off of grade. Alright, what you mean, like, never spoke? Like, you never heard this man open his mouth? You ain't hear him say here? When the teachers do attendance, what he do? He just, every time? Like, that's crazy, bro.
Grade who literally never spoke at all. I'm gonna just name him Luke for this story.
So you don't know what this man voice sounds like?
He wasn't even a weird-looking kid or anything. He seemed pretty nice to people who went out of their way to interact with him. I shared one class with him, though. It was an elective that had kids from all 4 grades in it. Luke and I were juniors when this happened. This elective was a computer class, and back when this happened, the computer rooms in our high school were still rocking those big, bulky box computers.
Right.
I remember the layout of this classroom.
Like a HP.
There was the aisle in the middle separating 2 columns of tables, and the 2 columns had 4 rows each. Each row had 4 seats, and each student had their own computer. This class wasn't full, so there were probably like 26 filled seats out of 32. Luke always sat in the second row in the furthest seat to the left with no one next to him, as everyone else sat with people they knew from their respective grades. Unfortunately, not long into the semester, the seniors in the class started collectively picking on Luke. By this, I mean some of the seniors would make jokes about how quiet Luke was that it was scary when the teacher would ask certain things. For whatever reason, our teacher never stood up for Luke and told them to cut it out. The teacher was a bit of a pushover from what I remember. Maybe that was why. As the semester went on, it got a little worse.
What you mean, like?
I remember at one point seeing a small piece of paper fly from the back row from the seniors right to the back of Luke's head.
Oh, yeah, y'all bogus.
I remember he turned around and had this very telling look. The seniors continued to make fun, one of them saying, "Wasn't me," and blaming one of the other seniors. The look on Luke's face just looked like a mix of sadness, anger, and just defeatedness. I genuinely felt bad, but I didn't get involved. Eventually, one day I saw Luke sitting on a curb not far from the high school after school ended one day. I passed by him as I was walking to my car. I have an early birthday, so I was driving around halfway through junior year.
Right.
Given we were in a quiet area, no one was exactly walking distance from school. So I did the right...
Huh? Man, Ma, I'm doing a YouTube video. Yeah.
A quiet area. No one was exactly walking distance from school. So I did the right thing and said what's up, and asked if he needed a ride home. His face literally lit up a bit as he said yes.
Bro, let me tell y'all, my computer getting hot. I hope it's not lagging, y'all. Oh, I hope it's not lagging. I hope this video come out good. Hey, look though. What was I finna say? Bro, a kind gesture can go a long way, bro. That's what I was finna say, bro. My computer's so hot, my bad. A kind gesture can go a long way, bro. Just saying, like, just, you know, you feel me, bro? That junk can, you see this, bro? Like, bro, just getting a ride home, not having to walk. We don't be thankful for them things, because a lot of people already got it. We blessed, bro. We don't realize it, you feel me? Like, that's why when things go bad, it's so, you ever been sick, you remember, like, dang, bro, I never realized how good it was for me to breathe clean air without having to, you feel me? Like, what? Like, that's like, we don't be thankful for them things, bro.
At home. His face literally lit up a bit as he said yes.
Man.
We walked to my car, and from there on, he guided me to his house. It was about a 10-minute drive to his house. We talked a lot during that car ride. I told him he should just ignore the seniors in our computer class. I said they're a bunch of deadbeats anyway. He said they're not the only ones that he's sick of. He implied that he deals with people picking on him in multiple classes, which honestly made me feel pretty terrible for him. In those 10 minutes, I felt like I learned a lot about Luke and got to know him as a person just a bit, and he seemed like a decent kid. As I dropped him off, I made a comment to him about how close we lived, and then we said goodbye. Every day in class after that, we'd say hey to each other.
That's good,
but admittedly, I unfortunately never got involved whenever he got picked on. Well, one day, Luke didn't show up to class. Computer class was 4th period. It wasn't until 7th period English that an announcement came over the loudspeaker saying, "Lockdown, this is not a drill." I remember everyone looking around nervously, and I remember our teacher looking the most nervous. She ran to turn off the lights and told everyone to hurry to one corner of the room. Seeing how nervous our teacher was only made all the students even more nervous. We sat with the lights off for a long time. It had to be 20 to 30 minutes until there was another message on the loudspeaker. It was the principal, explaining that there was someone in a mask carrying a black duffel bag trying to get into the school. Our school had really good security, and when someone spotted that person approaching the school with what could only be assumed to be guns or any kind of weapons in that duffel bag, the doors were all locked. The school day was cut short after that, once a few police cars were on the scene. I remember it being a Friday, so I took a few of my friends home to my house so we could hang out. I'd be lying if I said I remember the small details thereafter of that day, but I think it was that same night that I woke up in the middle of the night to light tapping at my window. And I could see someone on the other side of the glass. I started freaking out, and before running to get my dad, I took a closer look and then said, "Who is it?" I heard Luke's voice as he said his name. I felt like my heart dropped a second time. I went over to the window and lifted it just a crack. I said, "What are you doing? How did you find me?" And he said through the window, "I tried to do something bad." And it instantly clicked. I mean it. It instantly clicked in my head.
Hey, it be like that, bro. Like, you listening to somebody and you not really picking. Like, it makes sense, but you not thinking about it. I'm doing this to my I'm lifting it because it's hot, bro. I hope it ain't lagging. But, like, you lift it, you listening to somebody, or, like, you not putting the pieces together. But as soon as you hear that one little hint, everything just boom, puzzle automatically made. Like, dang, like, that was you for them. Like, what? What is we talking about?
Before he could even tell me,
you
I
already
said,
knew.
"Was it you who caused the lockdown?"
Yup.
And he said yes.
Yup.
I was scared to ask him what he was planning on doing. Instead, I asked him how he found me. He admitted to remembering the deli that I said I lived by, and he eventually found my car after biking around the area. That explanation didn't make it any less disturbing.
Man, like...
Luke asked me if he could come in and talk about what he planned on doing, and I said no, I cannot let him in, nor can I hear what he planned on doing. I actually recommended he go to the school and confess to whatever he was going to do.
Bro, see, I don't know if I would have let him in, but like, you can call me, bro. Like, I don't know about coming in, but like, he needs somebody to talk to, fuck. You just kind of push that away. He kind of see you as a friend now, whether you see him as that or not. And you got to think about it. Friends to you is not the same to him, because you might have friends, but he don't. So he looking at you like a brother. Dang, there, you feel me, bro? He looking at you like a older brother, like a dad, fuck, like a uncle, like a somebody he can talk to. Cause you looking out for him. He never really experienced that, obviously. So it's like, dang, he care about me. I gotta go to him about everything. So I'm not saying, cause I get why you don't want to let him in. That's creep. Like, why is he at my window at night anyway? But like, I was still like, I would like, we can talk on the phone, bro. I just don't feel comfortable letting you in my house. You feel like, I don't know. I wouldn't just completely shut him down. I don't know.
He refused to walk away from my window.
At first, I would have popped his ass though. Like, why is you at my window? I don't know you. At first, I would have blick on him. Like, what?
He said "Dad" really loudly, which worked in scaring him off. I went to my parents' room and woke them up to tell them. My mom was the one who insisted on calling the police. She was distraught.
That's crazy.
When a police officer eventually came, I had no choice but to tell the truth. I gave Luke's identity, and I explained that he had just come to my window, admitting to potentially almost doing something horrible at the school. Obviously, the police were already aware of the lockdown, so I believe police were sent to his house that night, but after speaking with Luke's parents, they realized Luke wasn't there. I believe it was the next day that Luke was either found or he just returned home and police were still waiting there, and he confessed to what he told me. As far as our graduating class knew, Luke was charged with something like making a terroristic threat. I know he did time, and I know he's been out a long time. To be honest, I don't really know if he's still around. Part of me always wanted to feel bad for Luke, witnessing how loneliness and getting picked on can probably eat away at someone.
Right.
He followed me and came to me simply because I showed him an act of kindness.
Yeah.
Something I unfortunately believe nobody else showed him.
Right, for sure.
Still,
that's
the
why
fact that he admitted to bringing a gun to school with a mask on, even if he didn't admit to intending on carrying out the implied threat, I can't fully believe he simply came to the school with a gun just to scare people.
Nah, he was finna do something, but it's the thing, because it's like you said, that simple act of kindness. The reason he did that is because he felt you was the only one that cared about him. So he gonna come to you about every other thing, bro. It's like a child with his parents, with his mom. Or with his dad. If he only got one parent, it don't matter which one. That's who he know, bro. That's who he or she know. That's who the kid know. Because that's who he be around so much. She be around so much. You feel me? So they gonna tell you about everything if they got that type of heart. So I'm not surprised he told you about it. It's just weird. Like, why is you coming to my window at 1-8? Why couldn't you do this earlier, bro? That's all I would have said. But, like, I don't know.
I think he for a split second had a horrible plan and got cold feet and regretted it. I just hope Luke eventually got the help he needed.
He's gonna shoot the school, little bro. Y'all keep saying horrible plan, being around the bush.
This happened in 2016.
Bro. What happened to lockdown, fuck? I don't even mess with this, bro.
When I was in 5th grade. If you remember that year, you probably remember all the killer clown sightings that were happening around the country. At the time, it was all over the news and social media. Most adults thought it was just some dumb trend or prank, but for young kids, it was actually pretty scary.
For real.
It was a normal day at school. I went to an elementary school in a quiet suburban area where I still live. Nothing weird ever really happens here. It was around 1 p.m. I'm guessing, because it was closer to the end of the school day. We were in class working on some random assignment, and the classroom was quiet except for a few people whispering.
Right.
Then, one of the students in my class suddenly said out loud, "There's a clown outside." I still remember her high-pitched voice as she said it. Some of us stood up and looked toward the window, and yeah, there really was a clown outside. He was standing just a few feet away from the window.
Jump on me, jump on 3, 1, 2, 3, get him on front of grade. Like what, bro? It's 30 of us and what are y'all? Okay, I ain't gonna lie. See, that's how I would react. Like, okay, I got scared. You saw it? I don't know if y'all saw it, but I jumped inside of me. Like, I jumped when I saw that bit, like when the sound and stuff popped up. But now that I think about it, gang. Like, gang, it's what of y'all? 30 of us plus the teacher. Like, 1, 2, 3, get him on phone them.
Facing our classroom
What are
directly.
y'all, bro?
He was wearing a baggy, dirty red and yellow clown suit and had white face paint with
What's
black
your
around the eyes.
problem, man?
He was smiling and staring in at us with this big fake grin. After a few seconds, he started waving slowly. Some of the kids thought it was funny and laughed. Others were clearly freaked out.
Right.
Our teacher, Mrs. Riker, walked over to the window, looked at the guy for a second, and then said through the glass, loud and annoyed, "Excuse me, classes are in session. You need to get out of here." The clown didn't react at all. He just kept standing there, smiling and waving. Mrs. Riker told us all to sit back down and said she was calling the front office. She picked up the corded classroom phone and then walked into the hallway with it and spoke quietly.
Why you leaving
The phones
your
in the
kids,
classrooms
bro?
were always next to the door, so that's how she was able to walk outside the room with
Why
it.
is you leaving your class?
She came back in moments later and then hung up. She walked over to the window and shut all the blinds after she saw that the man in the clown costume was still there, doing the same creepy waving motion, smiling, and general clownish mannerisms. Not even 2 minutes later, the principal's voice came over the loudspeaker. "Staff, please get your classrooms into lockdown formation." There was a sense of urgency in the voice that, looking back, was probably to alert the teachers that it wasn't a drill without causing all the kids to go into a panic. That's when it got serious. Mrs. Riker rushed to turn off the lights and told us all to get under our desks. She pulled the door shut and locked it.
I don't understand
Everyone
what
was
that be
quiet.
doing. Get under your desk. Is this an earthquake drill or a lockdown drill? Like, if y'all want to have somewhere the kids to be, that's one thing. But it, like, is this really helping me? Like, under your desk. Like, bro, what? Like, this not no earthquake, bro.
Some kids were giggling, but others looked scared. I was definitely scared. We stayed like that for what felt like
I would've
forever,
been scared at
but it was
first
actually
too, but,
about
like-
30 minutes. Nobody knew what was happening, but eventually, the principal came back on the loudspeaker and said the lockdown was over and that the situation had been handled. Apparently, school security had confirmed that the clown was gone. They didn't tell us anything else. Classes went on like normal for the rest of the day.
Like,
It felt
normal,
weird.
folks.
Everyone
Right.
was talking about it during dismissal,
Obviously.
but the teachers didn't say much.
Talking about
Then, after
normal.
school,
Ain't nothing normal
I was
after
walking
that?
home with my friend Chris.
And you
We
saw
lived
him?
in the same neighborhood, just a
find
few
out,
blocks away. While we were walking,
find
a
out.
couple of 5th grade girls behind us suddenly ran past us, looking panicked. One of them
Oh, I'm goofy as heck. I shouldn't be like, the whoops, want y'all, the whoops, the whoops. They run it because they saw the clown. My dumb. I'm trying to overly riz, bro.
said, "There's someone in the woods."
Right.
We stopped and
It's the
turned
clown,
around.
bro.
Behind the school, there's a small patch of trees. It's not deep woods or anything, just enough to separate the school from the street behind it. And standing just barely out of view, near the edge of the woods, was the clown again.
Right.
Same dirty outfit, same painted face. He was half hidden by the trees, but he was clearly waving, and he wasn't just waving at random. He was doing it slowly, directly at the girls who had just passed us,
Look
like
at
he
your
was trying to
freakish-
call them
bro, you
over.
overly freakish.
Chris
boy.
and I didn't say anything.
What's wrong
We
with
just
dude?
ran. I don't know what happened after that, but I told my parents as soon as I got home. They called the school, and later I heard from another kid that the police were called again and patrolled the area, but they never found
That's starting to
anyone.
get irritated.
To this day, nobody knows who that guy was. And I don't know if he was just trying to scare some kids, or if he were planning something worse. But what
Probably
freaks me
not.
out the most is that he came back after the lockdown, and he waited, hidden in the trees, watching kids go home.
Just a weirdo, like, it's just weird. I don't know.
So this happened not long ago. I live on the outskirts of Philadelphia, where it's me, my son, and my stepdaughter. I say stepdaughter as I've taken my best friend's daughter in legally. Around 2016, my best friend Joanne was murdered by her husband. He ended up making national headlines and was convicted of 5 more murder cases.
What the is this real? Hold on.
Husband. He ended up making...
Joanne.
Around 2016, my best friend Joanne was murdered by her husband.
We finna do some research, y'all. We finna do some research, man. Joanne. My husband. Was murdered. Joanna Simpson was murdered by her husband. Oh no, it was 2010. I don't know if this is the story you're talking about though. This one, she said she murdered her husband with rat poison. And this one, Joanna got murdered. I don't know. I just had to do my research, make sure. I don't know. Back into it though. Back into it.
Legally. Around 2016, my best friend Joanne was murdered by her husband. He ended up making national headlines and was convicted of 5 more murder cases. He's facing 3 consecutive life sentences with no parole.
Why do they do that, bro?
Now
do they try to just make that scene scary? Like, what is 1 life sentence in 5 years gonna do? What is 2 life sentences, 3 life sentences? Like, what? Like, what you like? After I die, I'm gonna be reborn again and be replaced right back in jail. Like, what does that mean, bro? Like, what?
Teacher at my son's school. He's the year below what I teach. My stepdaughter is the grade above what I teach, so their classrooms are not far off from mine. This incident took place on March 30th, 2020, when the lockdowns were slowly taking place. Where I taught, the school was rather distant from anywhere. The next school was about 10 miles, the gas station was about 2 miles, and the nearest park was about 600 meters.
I feel like COVID had the most, like COVID, bro, people was going crazy, bro.
Where we were.
I don't even know.
So we were one of the last schools to go into lockdown. Around midday of March, it was a normal heated Monday. I was teaching math at that time for the 6th graders. All of a sudden, I get a notification on my phone that someone was here to pick up my stepdaughter. The system that works is the main emergency number gets a notification if someone is picking up your child. The thing is, my stepdaughter was 3 classes down from me. She had no appointments, no close family that lived in a good radius from us. I replied that I'm here at school and no one in a 10-mile radius is picking her up. This was sending alarm bells off left and right. They said that the person picking her up was her biological dad. The school doesn't have that type of information on file. A few minutes go by on the phone and it's dead silent. The lady tells me she's going to call the principal and see what he wants to do from there. A gut feeling didn't sit right with me. I called my stepdaughter's classroom and asked for her to be sent to my room. Just as I hung up, I was back to teaching when my stepdaughter came into the classroom. Not even 10 minutes later, the lockdown siren went off. I had kids push desks to the door and barricade the windows, and everyone sat in the corner. I had a pretty good feeling on who this lockdown was about.
Right.
We were in a lockdown for about 46 minutes at this point. My
very
main concern
precise.
was how did he end up getting out?
Very exact.
About 2 hours later.
We got out of jail? This was your best friend, husband? This can't be real. This can't. What is his name so I can look it up? This can't be real, bro.
Was lifted, and I was
Ain't
escorted
no way
out by the...
You realize 3 life sentences. You in maximum security prison. Ain't no way he got out, folks. I'm not saying it's impossible, but bro, I don't know if I heard about that in 20. I did hear about somebody. I was getting hecka Amber alerts about kids going missing. I don't know, y'all. Why ain't they giving the name of the man, bro? It can't be real, bro.
I was further questioned on how I knew this man due to the CPS records. I said I took my best friend's daughter in and explained the whole story. The police informed me that how he had gotten out was a prison bus transporting inmates to another cell, but a car came swerving in and crashed into the prison bus, leaving 10 prisoners dead on the scene,
Whoa.
2 prison guards knocked out, and 20 escaped.
Whoa.
There were police already at our house waiting for the dad to show up, but he never did. When they heard the lockdown at the school, they knew it was one of the prisoners. If they had never gotten there on time, I honestly have no idea what would have happened.
He would have took your daughter, man. He would have took your best friend's daughter, man.
This happened during my freshman year of high school. I'm 21 now, and I still think about it all the time. I went to a public school in a pretty average suburban town. We did lockdown drills maybe once every couple months, so when this one started, that's exactly what I thought it was. Just a drill. It was a Wednesday, 4th period. I remember because it was earth science, and we had just finished the
4th period stuff, like, what be going on after lunch, man? Well, my 4th period happened right before lunch. I go to 4th hour and then get lunch, but some people like what's going on in 4th period, man?
Quiz. I was putting my stuff into my backpack when the loudspeaker came on and said, "This is a lockdown. Lock all doors, lights off, stay quiet." At first, nobody panicked. Our teacher, Mrs. Chen, sighed, got up, and locked the door like usual. She turned off the lights and told us all to get into the corner of the room, away from the door. Everyone was laughing a little and whispering like it was no big deal. But then we heard a second announcement. Same voice, but it sounded different. More rushed. "This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill." That's when the room went silent. My teacher didn't say a word. She just motioned for everyone to stay down and keep quiet. I could tell even she was nervous now. She kept checking her phone, and we could hear faint, distant police sirens outside. A few minutes passed, then we heard something from the hallway. Footsteps. Slow ones, and not in a hurry like a cop or a teacher, just one person walking. They stopped right in front of our classroom. We were all staring at the door. Nobody breathed. Then came a knock. Not loud, just a soft, slow knock.
That was loud. That was fast. What is y'all infiltrating, bro? Like, what, bro? He said, not loud, not fast. Like, what, bro? But, why is he stopping at this classroom specifically? Like, what?
3 times. Nobody moved. Then the doorknob turned. They tried to open it, but it was locked, obviously.
Somebody calling me. I'm doing a video. They're gonna have to wait. I'm sorry.
They kept trying.
I'm sorry.
Not aggressively, just turning the handle back and forth like they were checking. And then, a male's voice on the other side said, "This is just a drill. You can open the door now."
Crazy, man.
We all collectively looked at Mrs. Chen.
Oh, I thought
and then she looked back at all of us, put her finger up to her lips, and shook her head no.
Yeah.
The person on the other side of the door kept knocking and trying the doorknob, and eventually the knocks got more aggressive as the voice of the man on the other side kept saying, "Hello?"
Hello?
Our classroom was on the first floor in the science wing.
Why is he?
I can't tell you how much I was shaking in my shoes. I know even if all the other kids didn't want to admit it, they were as well. Eventually, the knock stopped, and the man must have walked away. We heard nothing after that for a solid 5 minutes. Total silence.
Why just
apart
come
from the
to this
police sirens
class
outside
or
getting
no?
louder. It felt like forever. Then, someone down the hall screamed. It was a girl. Just one scream and then nothing. A couple of people in my class started crying quietly. Honestly, it was the girls. Someone whispered that they saw a shadow move past the little glass window on the classroom door on several occasions. Each time anyone spoke, even quietly, Mrs. Chen gave a stern but quiet shh. Another 5 or 10 minutes passed. Then, finally, we heard the sound of police officers shouting from down the hallway, telling everyone to stay in place. They were going room to room, and when they finally knocked on our door and unlocked it with a key, Mrs. Chen didn't even move until they showed their badges.
Bro,
We
who
were
keep
all
calling, bro? Hold on. What? Where is that bitch finna go? Hey, wait, hold on, y'all. I'm finna join back. I'm going to YouTube video. Alright. Like, stop calling my phone, man. Hey, though. Hey, Alright, I'm back. My bad, y'all. That junk, I had to silence that.
Locked it with a key. Mrs. Chen didn't even move until they showed their badges. We were all escorted out in a line, past other classes doing the same thing. There were cop cars everywhere outside, even a SWAT van.
SWAT is
I didn't see
crazy.
anything too crazy, but I did see one officer leading a guy in cuffs out of the building.
So what
He
happened?
looked about 30. Not a student. Pale, long hair, wearing dark clothes.
What happened to her?
Later that day, we
I thought my phone was still ringing. I was thinking, man.
found out that some criminal had
Just
slipped
put it on
into the
silent.
school through one of the side doors during a delivery. That side door was right by the end of the science wing. Apparently, he was mentally unstable and had something in his backpack, but I don't know if it was a
Man,
weapon or
what?
not. They didn't tell us much.
Of
They
course
just
they-
said nobody was hurt and everything was under
Airtime, bro. They always keep this information to themselves. I don't get it. Something will happen, and you gotta do your own. Like you can't even find out everything by doing your research because they don't put it on nothing. Like they don't tell nobody. They keep that junk overly confidential. Why, I don't know. Because it's gonna cause more rumors. Now people just gonna make up stuff in their head, and people gonna start going with that. So why don't y'all just tell the honest truth on what happened? It's y'all school anyway. That junk will make me feel more safe to know what would happen than to not know. You feel me?
But I swear, I'll never forget that knock at the door. The way he turned the handle, the scream down the hall.
Bro,
It
the
didn't
way
feel
he
like
turned
everything
the
was under
handle.
control at all.
Like, why he so specific? Donald L. Trump. My bad.
I had just started school, and I already had a lockdown to tell. I'm only
crazy.
15 years old and just started as a sophomore at Northside High School in Jacksonville, North Carolina.
Okay.
That morning, I came to school early, around 6:55 a.m. I was one of the first people in my first period class, which was chorus. Our classroom is at the very end of the fine arts hallway, right next to the auditorium. I was sitting at my seat with my phone out, listening to music and just waiting for the bell to ring and start the day.
Right.
After a few minutes, I heard my teacher say something, so I paused my music and took out my headphones. When I looked up, I saw my classmates heading into the closet at the back of the choir room. I was confused. We had just practiced a lockdown drill the day before, so I wasn't sure if this was another drill or something else. Still, I listened to what the teacher was saying and followed everyone else into the closet. The teacher shut the door behind us and turned off the lights. We were now sitting in complete darkness, with only a small amount of light coming in from under the door. At this point, I still didn't know what was happening, but then I heard police sirens outside. That's when I started to realize this wasn't a drill, it was real. I started to feel nervous, but I kept calm. I figured if I stayed as composed as I could, maybe I wouldn't panic as much. I sat in that closet quietly, trying to listen for any sounds coming from outside, but I didn't hear anything else. We stayed in that closet with the lights off until the lockdown ended, around 8:45 a.m. That's nearly 2 hours. Once we were let out, I felt calm again because everyone around me had stayed calm too.
So what happened?
I went back to my seat in the front of the room
So
and
what,
put
man, I
my
don't know
music
what to
back on,
sleep.
just trying to get back to normal. Later on, I decided to ask my teacher what had happened.
Right.
I said, "Were there any fights today?" The teacher looked at me seriously and said, "It's much worse."
What happened?
That's when I started to realize something serious had really gone down.
What happened?
I looked out the window and saw cars lined up in the back of the school.
What happened?
At first, I thought it was just regular pickup traffic, but it felt different. In the classroom, some students were trying to get information. Eventually, my friend Jacob told me that someone had been stabbed in the middle of the school, in the rotunda. I didn't know much more than that at the time, but shortly after,
They died?
my mom texted me asking if I was okay. I told her I was safe and still in my choir class. Some girls in the class
survive?
had started crying after the lockdown, and that made everything feel even more real. My mom called me next. She told me she had parked her car at the
probably-
baseball
yeah, I think
field,
this is,
along with a bunch of other worried parents trying to find their kids. Eventually, my name was called and I was allowed to leave the school. When I got to the field, I found my mom. She was clearly shaken up, and honestly, so was I. She drove me to the daycare where she worked, and once we got there, both of us went into a quiet room where we cried together. Her co-workers came in to try and comfort us, and I had to go outside to calm down even more. I put my headphones back in and listened to 3 Days Grace just to get my head right again. Later on, we found out exactly what happened.
Yeah, what happened?
2 students had been taken to the hospital. One of them died. A teacher had also been slashed by the attacker.
Bro, why?
In total,
Why did he do
3
that?
people had been hurt that
Why
day.
did he do that? Or she?
I started searching for more information and found the press conference about the incident already posted online.
Yeah, what happened?
After watching it, my mom took me to Arby's to get something to eat. I hadn't eaten all day. We got our food, then we went to pick up my younger brother from his middle school. He told us he had noticed a lot of cops at the school, but didn't know what had happened. When we got home, I kept searching online for updates. That's when I saw that a 16-year-old had already been charged with voluntary manslaughter, assault with a deadly weapon, and a list of other serious charges. 2 more students, one 15 and one 16, were also charged with assault and disorderly conduct.
Dang, it was 3?
What made it even more disturbing was that someone had recorded the stabbing and posted the video on Snapchat.
Whoa,
I didn't watch the video myself, but my mom told me about it.
Whoa.
She said in the video, the person recording was running, so the phone was pointed at the ground, but you could clearly hear the screams of kids as the stabbing happened.
Whoa.
My mom thinks the whole thing might have been gang-related, and after I heard that, I was scared. Scared that someone might come back to retaliate. Another attack, more violence. It's hard to believe that someone actually died. I didn't even know the kid, but I've been thinking about him ever since. I hope he rests in peace.
What was that? North Side, North Carolina? Hold on. I gotta look this. We gotta do our research, chat. How the heck do you spell that? Oh. Fatally stabbed a Oh, that was real, chat. That was real. That was a month. Oh, no. During a brawl in a gym Monday. That was real, y'all. It was another one at the same school? Oh, this. Oh. Wait, which one was he talking about? Was he talking about this one or this one? That story was real, though. I think he was talking about this one. I ain't gonna lie. Yo, that's crazy, bro. In the video. Yeah, somebody recorded it. Yeah, he was talking about this one in the video. Doesn't still worse than. Yeah, knife and strikes the 2 victims. Boy died of his injuries. That's crazy. I believe he got the knife from somebody in the school because he did not go to school with the knife. I dropped him off at school. Bro, that's crazy, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, those are some good stories, though, bro. My favorite one, I ain't gonna lie. Them 2 last ones was good, too, but that Luke one, low-key, was crazy. That Luke one was crazy, though. There was no bullies in my school, proceeds to tell us what bullies exactly do. It hit different. It's so sad. Someone had simply stood up for him. Maybe his life could have gone normally. Not for real. But, yeah, everybody talking about the first story. The first story is scary, but more than anything, it's sad because it could have been avoided altogether. Bullying should never be exhausted or tolerated anyway. Oh, I just made that bitch 666 locks. Yeah, I got unlocked. I'm sorry. There was no bullying in my school. I can't think of anyone who was a bully anyway. So people started bullying Luke. Like what? Bro, I'm telling y'all, bro. When Luke, that little kindness he did, bro, he viewed the person who was telling the story like a brother. So that's why he came to him weird, like on some weird stuff at night. But like, yeah, bro, just show people kindness, bro. And they gonna spare you for sure. You see, he ain't wanna do nothing to him, but like, hey though, bro, that's crazy, bro. I don't even know what to say about that last one either. And then that guy got picked up. Somebody escaped from prison. All them stories was low-key crazy. I ain't gonna lie to you. Glory to God, bro. Have a good rest of y'all day, bro. Happy Mother's Day if y'all watching this on Mother's Day. And yeah, man.